Have you ever wondered what it means when someone, particularly a man, never contacts you first? There's a moment we all experience where we feel the absence of initiative from another person, and in that moment we feel the weight of waiting. But I urge you to pause, for this isn't just about a lack of text, a missed call, or an unanswered message. It is a reflection of something deeper, a truth that may shake the very foundation of how we perceive relationships. You see, in a world that pushes us to seek and strive, we often forget the most important lesson. You are not a passive object awaiting the attention of others. You are a dynamic force, a current in the river of life, and if someone doesn't make the effort to step into your flow, then perhaps they are simply not attuned to the rhythm of your journey. Do you truly know why you are waiting? Do you understand the cost of your stillness? Stick with me, and let's explore this together. We must first understand that human connection is not a straightforward exchange of words or actions. It's more like a dance, a rhythm where two energies come together, move in harmony, and sometimes pull apart only to return again. But what happens when one stops dancing? The music naturally changes. There is no longer that backhand forth that creates the spark, and you're left wondering, why isn't he reaching out? The answer, perhaps, lies in the natural flow of desire and effort. You see, desire is the pulse of life. It is what propels us forward, what ignites our very being, and effort is the expression of desire. If a man never contacts you first, it isn't because he doesn't care. It is because the intensity of his desire isn't enough to create the effort to connect. Desire and effort are inextricable. If one is missing, the other cannot manifest fully. You might sit, waiting for him to show interest, but the truth is, if he wanted to, he would. Now, this might sting at first, but let us look at it from another angle. You are not an object for someone else to come to. You are a force of nature, a living, breathing current in the vast ocean of existence. If you are standing still, waiting for someone to bring you to life, you are forsaking your own flow. The universe moves around you, and to pause for the sake of someone else's indecision is to halt your own momentum. What you must realize is that silence speaks as loudly as words. If someone is not reaching out to you, there is no need to force them to do so. Their silence is a form of communication in itself. It reflects their awareness of the situation, or perhaps their lack of it. It is not your job to fill the space with your own interpretations or expectations. Allow the absence of communication to be a reflection of their own state of consciousness. Their disinterest is their message. Accept it. Let us also consider something profound. Energy is the true currency in any relationship. Where someone places their time, their attention, their thoughts, that is where their value lies. Words are fleeting, but actions speak truth. If someone never contacts you first, their energy is invested elsewhere, and you are left wondering why your energy is not being reciprocated. But what if you stopped waiting for them to give? What if you stopped expecting them to share their energy and started pouring yours into something else, something that elevates you, something that brings you peace? You deserve to flow freely, not to be frozen in place by someone else's uncertainty. Life is forward, moving, and to be stuck in a loop of wondering why someone hasn't contacted you is to forsake your own journey. The river doesn't stop because one drop hesitates. It moves regardless of who or what tries to hold it back. I invite you to let go of this waiting, this pause. You are not the stillness, you are the current. And if someone refuses to join your flow, let them swim at their own pace while you continue your own path. The true beauty of life lies in the willingness to embrace what comes without grasping. If a man never contacts you first, let it be his choice, his rhythm, his dance, your rhythm that is yours to create. It does not depend on anyone else. The moment you free yourself from waiting, you'll discover a world filled with possibilities, connections, and energies that align with your own, and you will realize, perhaps for the first time, that you were never waiting at all. You were simply preparing for the right kind of dance. Human relationships are not linear. They are a dance, a fluid exchange of energies that move together in harmony, often shifting in rhythm as life unfolds. In any meaningful connection, both individuals contribute to the movement. They take turns leading, following, and sometimes even pausing to reflect. However, when one person steps back, when they stop dancing and wait for the other to carry the weight of connection, the harmony is disrupted. The music fades, and what was once a flowing rhythm becomes stagnant. In this space, we are left to wonder why the other person is no longer initiating, why the energy seems to be one-sided, but this isn't necessarily a matter of blame. It's not a simple case of one person failing to keep the beat. Rather, it is a reflection of the natural ebb and flow that happens when people's paths no longer align, when the rhythm that once brought them together has shifted, and one no longer feels compelled to contribute. In this dance of life, we must understand that it is not the absence of one person's effort that defines us. It is the willingness to keep moving, regardless of whether someone else is stepping with us. When one partner stops moving, the other must decide whether to stand still and wait or to continue on their own path, creating new rhythms and inviting new energy. The key is not to take the pause personally, but to recognize that all relationships, like dances, evolve and change. Perhaps the rhythm of this particular dance no longer resonates, or perhaps the other person is simply out of sync at this moment in time. The important thing is not to let this pause define your worth or your ability to continue dancing with life. To stay frozen in a place of waiting is to deny the natural flow of energy that exists around you. The music will always keep playing, whether someone is dancing with you or not. You have to trust that if the dance is meant to continue, it will. Desire and effort are deeply interconnected in the fabric of human relationships. Desire is the force that propels us forward, the invisible current that drives us to seek connection, love, and understanding. It is the spark, the longing, the yearning for something or someone that stirs us from within. But desire alone is not enough to bring a relationship into existence or keep it alive. Effort is what transforms desire into reality. It is the act of showing up, of reaching out, of making the conscious choice to invest time, energy, and attention into another person. If a man never contacts you first, it isn't because desire is absent. It's because his desire has not yet reached the point where it motivates him to put in the effort to connect. Think about it. In every area of life, we take action toward the things we care about. We make time for what we value, whether it's work, hobbies, or relationships. Effort is a reflection of how much something means to us. It's not about how often someone says they care, but about how consistently they show up with intention. If someone doesn't reach out, it could be that their desire simply isn't strong enough to fuel that effort. And that's not a judgment. It's simply a truth about how the energy of relationships functions. Just as you wouldn't chase after something that doesn't align with your own desires, others are unlikely to chase after you if they do not feel the same pull. What's important here is to realize that effort is the key to any meaningful relationship. Without effort, desire remains just an idea, an abstract thought. If you're constantly the one reaching out, initiating contact, or keeping the conversation alive, you may be the one carrying all the weight of the relationship. And at some point, that will start to feel exhausting. Relationships are meant to be a shared experience, a mutual exchange of energy. When that balance is disrupted, when one person is constantly pulling while the other isn't pushing, the connection becomes strained. Recognizing this truth frees you to see that, in the end, if someone doesn't put in the effort, their desire may not be as genuine as it appears. Instead of pouring your energy into a one-sided pursuit, ask yourself whether this is a dance you want to continue. You are not an object of waiting, nor a passive participant in someone else's timeline. You are a force, a dynamic energy that flows through the world. To see yourself as someone who simply waits for others to act is to deny your own vitality, your own movement. Too often, we find ourselves suspended in this moment of expectation, holding on to the hope that someone will take the initiative to reach out, to make the first move. We sit idly, convinced that we must wait for someone else to recognize our worth, to invite us into their world. But this waiting, this stasis, is a choice, not a condition. When you place yourself in the position of waiting, you abandon your own journey. Life is not meant to be a passive experience. You are not meant to freeze in time, hoping that someone will arrive to unfreeze you. You are the one who sets the pace of your life, who charts the course of your existence. If someone doesn't reach out first, it isn't a reflection of your worth or value. It is merely a sign that your energy isn't in alignment with theirs, at least not in this moment. And that is not a failure, it is simply the ebb and flow of life, a reminder that not all connections are meant to last forever or fit perfectly into the paths we've planned for ourselves. When you stop waiting for someone else to define your pace, you reclaim your power. You become the one who initiates, the one who shapes the interactions around you. The world is full of opportunities, of energies and experiences that are waiting to meet you. But you cannot experience them if you remain locked in place, holding space for someone who may never show up the way you hope. You are not a station for others to visit when it suits them. You are a journey, a vibrant unfolding that deserves to be explored and cherished by those who recognize your movement and contribute their own. Life is fluid, and so must you be. Waiting for someone to contact you first is a choice that restricts your own flow. Let go of the stillness and let the current carry you forward. Communication is not just the exchange of words. It is a reflection of one's awareness, presence, and consciousness. Every interaction, whether verbal or nonverbal, conveys something deeper than what is explicitly stated. When someone fails to initiate contact or reaches out only sporadically, this silence is not an absence of information, it is a form of communication in itself. In fact, sometimes silence speaks more loudly than words. The lack of communication tells you something significant about the person's state of mind, their priorities, and ultimately their level of engagement. In a relationship, the way someone communicates reveals their awareness not just of you, but of the relationship itself. If a man never contacts you first, it may indicate that his awareness of the connection is limited or that his consciousness is elsewhere. Communication, in its most authentic form, is not just about fulfilling an obligation or responding out of necessity. It's an act of presence, of offering your attention freely to the other person because you value the connection. When that presence is withheld, it suggests that the connection is not perceived with the same depth or importance. This is not about judging the other person's intentions or character. It is simply an acknowledgement of where their awareness lies. You see, we all have limited attention to give in life. We invest our time and energy in the things that matter most to us, whether consciously or unconsciously. If someone chooses not to contact you first, it is a signal of where their energy is directed. It's not always personal, but it is always telling. Their silence is not about you being unworthy, it's about their current state of awareness and presence. And this is crucial to understand. If someone is truly present with you, their communication will reflect that presence. The act of reaching out, of making the first contact, is a demonstration of intentionality, a clear sign that they are actively engaging with you, not just passively existing in the relationship. In contrast, a lack of effort in communication can show a lack of intentionality, which is, in itself, a form of communication. Energy is the true currency of relationships. It is not the words we speak, but the energy we invest that defines the depth of our connections. Think of energy as a form of currency. What we spend, where we spend it, and who we spend it on reflects our true priorities. In any relationship, the exchange of energy is vital. If you find that you are always the one reaching out, always the one making the effort, it is not just your time that is being drained, it is your energy, and energy, unlike time, cannot be replenished endlessly. It is finite, and where you direct it is of great significance. When someone does not contact you first, when they fail to make the effort to connect, what they are telling you is that their energy is invested elsewhere. Relationships require reciprocal energy. One person gives, the other receives, and vice versa. If one person is constantly investing more energy than the other, a dissonance begins to form. The connection starts to feel out of balance, and over time, it becomes draining rather than fulfilling. This is not a sustainable dynamic. In the same way that you would not continue to pour water into a cup that never fills, you should not continue to pour your energy into a relationship that does not reciprocate. This doesn't mean that the other person is bad or uncaring. It simply means that they are not aligning their energy with yours in the way you need, and this is an essential distinction. Relationships are not built solely on intentions or desires. They are built on the actual exchange of energy, the effort that two people put into nourishing and sustaining their bond. If the energy you give is not met with equal energy, then the relationship will begin to feel one-sided, and ultimately it may begin to drain you rather than uplift you. This is why it is so important to recognize where your energy is being invested. If you find yourself continually reaching out, always the one initiating contact, ask yourself, where is my energy truly going? Are you investing it in relationships that bring you joy, growth, and fulfillment, or are you spending it on connections that simply drain you? Remember, energy is the truest form of currency, and it is up to you to decide where you want to spend it. Life is a continuous flow, a constant movement forward, and so are the connections we make along the way. If someone fails to contact you first, it is a sign that their current flow does not align with yours, but this should not halt your own movement. To stop your own progress, to freeze in time while you wait for someone else to decide whether or not they want to engage, is to deny the very essence of life itself. The world does not stop for anyone. It moves forward relentlessly, and so must you. You are not meant to wait for anyone to catch up to your pace. When you stand still, waiting for someone to make the first move, you suspend your own energy. You allow their indecision to dictate your state of being. Life, however, is not about waiting. It is about flow, about movement. Imagine a river constantly moving, its waters never stagnant. If one drop hesitates, the river does not stop for it. The water continues to rush forward, following its natural course, carrying with it everything in its path. You are the river. If someone doesn't choose to join your flow, you must continue. You are not here to be paused for someone else's convenience. The lesson here is that your energy, your essence, your path is yours to define. It does not hinge on someone else's choices. If someone refuses to meet you halfway, it is their decision, not yours, and it is not a reflection of your worth or value. It is simply a reality of life's constant ebb and flow, where some people come and go, their rhythms either matching yours or not. You deserve to flow freely, unencumbered by someone else's hesitation. Waiting for someone else to initiate contact is like standing still in the river, hoping someone will come to pull you out. But you are the current, and the river will carry you where you need to go. The moment you stop waiting and allow yourself to move forward, you will find that life presents you with new opportunities, new energies, and new connections that align with your own pace. You are not meant to be frozen in place. You are meant to move, to grow, and to flow. In the end, it is essential to recognize that relationships, like all things in life, are not meant to be forced or paused for anyone else's timeline. If someone never contacts you first, it speaks more about where their energy lies, not your worth. You are not meant to be stagnant, waiting for someone to meet you where you stand. You are a dynamic force moving through life, and your journey does not depend on the choices of others. When you stop waiting, you reclaim your power, you return to your own flow, and you begin to realize that the right connections will come to you naturally when they are meant to. Don't let anyone's hesitation freeze your progress. The rhythm of life will continue whether someone joins you in the dance or not. So, embrace your movement, trust your path, and let go of the idea that someone else's actions define your worth. Life is fluid, and so are you. Flow forward, with or without their initiation, because your journey is yours to shape.